r/AskReddit. Partners of sleep talkers or sleepwalkers, what gems have you to share? We were freshly married and living overseas. My husband hadn't had much sleep the nights before, which usually enhances any sleep talking. It was hot in our room. My husband mumbled something which I didn't quite catch. I asked him to repeat it. He got up, opened the bedroom window, and said very pointedly, "Airflow, bitch." Then laid back down, completely asleep. Now, my husband has never, not once, ever called me a name or even raised his voice to me, so this is particularly hilarious. My husband and I got married just 3 months ago, and I found out he's a notorious sleep talker. Some nights he would roll over to me, kiss me full on the mouth, tell me he loves me, then plonk right back on his pillow, and start snoring again. This actually happens regularly, much to my delight, lol. Other nights he would blurt out things like how he would install a new server at the sheriff's office, or there's a snake on his palm, and when I asked what it's doing he answered that it's coding something. I now enjoy staying up late, and am a proud owner of several recordings of my husband's sleep talkings. Recently, I got him answering math questions, and it tickled me silly how he got them all correct. My boyfriend once blurted out, "You're putting bread in my ears" in his sleep, mumbled something unintelligible, and then followed up with, "And I'm becoming a sandwich." Still makes me laugh whenever I remember. Legit man fear. I'm the sleep talker. A long while back my fiance was working a job where she didn't get home until after midnight. She came home one night and was leaning over the table on my side of the bed. She swears up and down that I looked up at her, smacked her on the top of the head, and when she asked what the hell, that I told her I was checking to see if she was a ghost. Now, I do remember having a dream like this, but in my dream my hand did go through her head, proving she was a ghost. I had a dream that my girlfriend was biting my neck playfully. I didn't want that, so I push her gently off and tell her to stop. Soon after I woke up, and she was holding her eye and crying. She says I just pushed her, sat upright and straight punched her in the face. She said she wasn't too hurt, but was extremely confused. I had a girlfriend do that to me. I was in bed playing a game on my laptop with headphones. She sat up, looked at me, punched me right in the face, then went back to bed. Apparently I cheated on her in her dream, and deserved getting hit. Rumored freshman year of college was a sleepwalker/sleep talker. We were in the freshman dorms, small little room. I woke up one night and saw him sitting straight up on the side of the bed just staring at me, eyes fully open, just talking gibberish about golf. He was going on about Phil Mickelson or some shit. Have to be honest, it was creepy as all hell, because he was staring directly into my eyes. Next morning, I told him about it, and he just laughed and said, "Sorry, I tend to do that from time to time." I'm sorry to tell you this, but he is possessed by a golf demon. You need to make an offering of 10 golf balls and a 3-iron to it, or it shall never leave him. No, you're gonna want a wedge for that. Nah, you'll need a putter chest. A friend who was next to my room in a high school dorm used to sleepwalk. He also used to sleep earlier than the rest of the floor. So one night, around midnight, we all were up and talking, in my room, except him. He'd gone to sleep. We were kinda worried that the dorm advisor would cut our chill session and tell us to go to sleep. Suddenly, we hear someone banging on the door of the room. I get up to go open it, and as soon as I turn the handle, the door comes flying towards me. I was knocked back into a table, and standing there was my sleepwalking friend. He says, "Where is the secret of the time?" and without waiting for an answer, walks back to his room, climbs into his bunk bed top, and goes to sleep. Needless to say, we were all surprised, but being teenagers, we never let him forget it. It became a running joke in the school. I can absolutely imagine him being late for class and someone asks him, "What is the secret of time?" He got up, went into the kitchen, and ate one bite of a mini pecan pie, no fork, just a straight bite, then apparently remembered he hates pecan pie and left it stacked neatly on the little box. Another time he sat up and stared straight ahead at the wall, didn't respond to me asking what was wrong. He stood up, walked into the wall, then stood there, like he was contemplating the barrier. He just backed up exactly as he came, sat down and swung back into bed like nothing happened. That was creepy. I was in my brother's room watching TV with him, and he ended up falling asleep. He mumbled something about Arizona, and when I asked what he said he didn't respond. Then a few minutes later he sits up, squints his eyes and just scans the room back and forth. I asked if he was okay, and he laid back down and went back to sleep. I still don't know what he was scanning the room for, but it creeped me out. Kinda sounds like my friend sitting up and going, "Salt. Where's the salt?" and just sat there looking around for a few seconds before going back to sleep. He started shouting that he couldn't feel his left arm. I pointed out he was pinching his pillow, not his arm. He then freaked out that he had lost his arm. I pointed out his arm was under his pillow. He said okay and started snoring. It took me another hour to get back to sleep. He didn't wake up at all. That sounds like he was high. Yeah, he wasn't. But he definitely has a sleep issue. Often he sees huge bad people and gets out of bed to chase them away, or talks about all sorts of random shit. He once threw a pillow out the window thinking it was a bomb. I dread to think what he would be like if he did take any drugs. My mom tells a story about a time she fell asleep with her arm above her head. It lost circulation and dropped onto her chest, but she had no feeling in it since it fell asleep. When it flopped on her chest she woke up and tried to throw her asleep arm, screaming that a dead hand had fallen on her. I have had funnier experiences than this one, but cannot remember exactly what was said. Most recently, though, my boyfriend scoots over to meet a big spoon/little spoon, and I snuggle in, thinking that's all it was. Then he gets real close to my ear and whispers, "Just so you know, there's something in the closet." Like a cartoon turtle. I did my best not to bust out laughing and just said, "Okay honey." When he woke up, he had no memory of it whatsoever, of course. Were you the slightest bit concerned of the cartoon turtle? I would have checked the closet. Then you would not survive the horror movie. My aunt likes to tell the story about her and my cousin sharing a hotel room one time. My aunt woke up having to pee and found my cousin sitting up in bed with her arms folded across her abdomen, kind of rocking back and forth and giggling quietly. When my aunt asked her what she was doing, my cousin said, "I'm holding a baby and it has an adult smile." I found this story deeply unsettling. Get the holy water. My husband once sat bolt upright on bed and announced, "You're not working hard enough. I have to fire you," and went back to sleep. My husband sat up straight and yelled, "What the duck?" and laid down again, got all cozy, and not another word from him after that. Freaked me out. Sounds like he just got fired for not working hard enough. I'd be the king of Monaco. My wife said this one night out of nowhere. The funniest part was her tone of voice, proud and assertive, like she was really sure of her claim to the throne. Anyway, the joke's on her. Monaco is a principality. My mom sleepwalks sometimes. When she was in the middle of her residency, she came into my room in the middle of the night and sharply asked, "Did you give the patient a dose of medication, like I asked you to 15 minutes ago?" I groggily replied, "Who? What?" She just huffed and said, "Well, I guess that answers my question," before turning around and leaving. Without closing the door, of course. She didn't remember a thing about it the next morning. What is it with moms never closing bedroom doors? It transcends age, race, location and all other demographics imaginable. If you're a mom, bedroom doors do not close. It is the way. To the moms reading this, be the change. I always close the doors, but my wife never does. Our daughter says she always knows who's been where because of this fact. My brother did that in the middle of the night. He would get up, go into the living room, say some nonsense shit to our parents, and go back to bed. It was actually pretty creepy the first times, because he was like, they are in the walls. They are. I do this too. But I usually wake up as the sentence is coming out of my mouth, and realize the convo I'm replying to wasn't real. Then I yell, never mind, and run away in shame. My one claim to sleep talking fame is that as I was waking up I was talking in my dream, so my partner heard me say, out of nowhere, what about like a really tall giraffe? I remember saying it. I have no memory of what problem I was facing that I thought might be solved by a really tall giraffe. Napping with the boyfriend, a loud noise wakes me, but head's still out. Me, what was that? Him, either a tree or a magic eraser. Mr. Clean hiding in your closet looking real nervous after that. Not a partner, but in military training and school I often took the night shift for guard duty. The amount of sleepwalkers and talkers is way ducking higher than I expected. It is straight creepy when you have to walk down the halls with a covered flashlight listening to big ass grown men mumbling and lashing out in their sleep. What takes the cake though is often sleepwalkers will just kinda stop randomly. So you'll be walking along in the pitch black darkness and suddenly there is just a ducking dude standing there. Eyes generally closed, or worse, open, just kinda listening to the side, or leaning against a bedpost or wall. After I'd suppress all the swear words I was about to yell out, nothing much to do, but kinda prod them along back to their bed. For all the randomness, that is being part of the military, I really didn't expect one of my jobs to be gently tucking my fellow soldiers back into their beds. I know stress usually makes sleep talking / walking worse, and I'm sure military training is likely stressful. The ones doing sit-ups freaked me out the most. My wife started screaming one night that she was lost in the local grocery store, and that no matter where she went she couldn't find her way out. I asked her how she tried checking out at the cash registers. She then looked at me and said in her most sincere voice, "That's why you are the smartest person I know." And she rolled over and fell back asleep. Or, that's super cute. My wife was mumbling a lot and suddenly shouted donkey kick as she kicked me in my shin, so that was fun. My wife was in her finals week, so she woke up in the middle of the night telling me she discovered a way to study while sleeping. So I asked her how, and she closed her eyes and went back to sleep. She is presumably not wrong. Lol. Maybe she accidentally discovered a realm where dreams and consciousness are one and the same, and now that knowledge is lost forever. Mayo one time, my ex was asleep and started to snore progressively loud. He startled himself half awake, and he says out loud to himself, "Shut up, I'm sleeping." Oh, I snorted my drink through my nose. Reminds me of the time my dog woke himself up with his own fart. My grandfather was a hard sleep talker. My grandmother has a funny story. One day my grandfather, while sleeping, was saying, "Do I punch this asshole?" My grandmother replayed, "Yeah, punch him." Then my grandfather in his sleep punched her. This actually happened last night. My fiance started talking to me like we had never met before, and after a minute I realized that she was dreaming about our first date. It was really wholesome, and I was surprised at how much detail she remembers. I know it's not a contest, but I think this one wins. Heck yes. Please take a seat. My wife was an avid sleep talker for a long time, and her midnight announcements range from simple single words to elaborate speeches. The ones that really stand out to me are waking up in the middle of the night to her suddenly sitting violently up in bed, throwing back the covers, and screaming, "Tarantula." That will make you very awake, very quickly. Whispering my name repeatedly, which woke me up, so she could share in a hushed, cautious voice, "There is an alligator in here." When I expressed my concern, playing along, she told me, still whispering, that it's okay. It has been here before. But my all-time favorite was when, from her perspective as she later explained, she was dreaming that I was playfully sneaking up on her and she saw me and was calling me on it. From my perspective, my wife sat up in the middle of the night, starting into the darkest corner of the room, and said repeatedly in a soft sing-song voice, "I see you." My flipping blood froze. My wife is terrifying. And hilarious. Don't forget hilarious. Husband woke up in the morning and told me about a crazy dream he had. We were hosting a party and he was serving cookies. He was upset that nobody was eating them. When we went downstairs, we discovered a full plate of cookies sitting on our dining table. That would be the best discovery ever. When my girlfriend and I started dating, she told me that she's been told she talks in her sleep from time to time and unfortunately has nightmares fairly often. One of the first nights we spent together, she wakes up at 2 AM and sits up super fast. It wakes me up and I look over only to hear her quickly say, "Pizza." Order a pizza, then lie back down and start snoring within a minute. God, I love that woman, LMAO. Well, did you order a pizza? I hate to admit that I did not get a pizza. It was 2 in the morning, so everywhere was closed, but most importantly, she wouldn't wake up when I tried to ask her what toppings she wanted.